Okay, so think about this for a second, right? We've all been there, feeling a bit under the weather, reaching for that bottle of pills, popping one out, and swallowing it down with a gulp of water, like it's the most natural thing in the world.
It is pretty routine, isn't it?
Totally. But have you ever actually stopped to think about what happens next? I mean, the journey that tiny little pill or capsule takes inside your body, and all the science that goes into making sure it actually does what it's supposed to.
It's amazing, isn't it? There's so much more to it than meets the eye.
Way more. So, today on this deep dive, we are going to uncover the hidden world of oral dosage formulation strategies, those ingenious techniques that scientists use to make sure those pills and capsules really work.
Because let's face it, it's not as simple as just stuffing the good stuff into a convenient little package. It's a whole intricate science, making sure that medication you take by mouth is properly absorbed by your body, actually gets where it needs to go.
And not just that, but also stay stable, right? Like from the moment it's made all the way until it reaches your medicine cabinet.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stability is crucial. We want that drug to stay potent and effective throughout its entire shelf life.
Exactly. And to help us explore all of this, well, we've got a fascinating collection of materials to dig into.
We do. From case studies in drug discovery and basic principles pharmacokinetics to real-world examples from, well, journals like Organic Process Research and Development, or OPR&D.
Tons of great stuff to unpack. So today our mission is to really pull out those key insights from these sources and try to demystify the process of how these oral medications are designed for optimal performance.
Exactly. We're going to break down the critical factors, the challenges, the innovative techniques.
Huh.
Think of it like a backstage pass to the science that makes your oral medications work.
Love that. A backstage pass, totally. So when we talk about formulating oral medications, what are the non-negotiables, the absolute must-haves that scientists are aiming for? What are those fundamental goals?
Well, the two biggies are bioavailability and stability. Bioavailability, put simply, is the extent and rate at which the active drug ingredient in that pill or capsule actually gets absorbed into your system. And not only that, but becomes available at the site of action, where it needs to do its job.
Right. So it's not just about the drug showing up somewhere in your bloodstream. It's about reaching the right place at the right concentration and doing it quickly enough to be effective.
Exactly. Speed and efficiency are key. Now, stability, as we've touched on, refers to the drug's ability to maintain its chemical integrity and potency over time. This is crucial, absolutely essential, from the manufacturing process through storage and distribution, all the way to when you actually take it.
It's like, what's the point if the drug breaks down before it even gets a chance to do its thing in your body, right?
Exactly. It's all about preserving its effectiveness throughout its intended lifespan.
So it sounds like these two goals, bioavailability and stability, they're kind of intertwined, aren't they? You can't really optimize one without considering the other.
Absolutely, they go hand in hand. Formulation strategies are all about striking that perfect balance, maximizing bioavailability, while simultaneously ensuring stability. It's a delicate dance, for sure.
So how do scientists go about achieving this? Like, what are some of the key techniques they use to get that drug ready for its journey inside the body?
Well, first things first, we have to think about how that solid drug, in that pill or capsule, interacts with the fluids in your gastrointestinal tract, your GI tract.
Right, because it's not like it just magically appears in your bloodstream. It has to dissolve first, right?
So the dissolution rate, how quickly the drug dissolves, and its solubility, how well it can dissolve, are crucial factors. And these directly influence absorption and, consequently, bioavailability. It's all connected. The evaluation of drug candidates for preclinical development, that document really hammers home this point.
Makes sense. If it doesn't dissolve, it can't get absorbed. Pretty straightforward. But what happens if a drug is just, I don't know, stubborn? Like it just doesn't want to dissolve very well?
Well, that's where formulation scientists get creative.
Okay, let's hear it. Spill the secrets.
One trick up their sleeve is particle size reduction. Imagine taking a big chunk of rock and breaking it down into tiny grains of sand. That's kind of what they do with the drug substance. By milling or grinding it into much smaller particles, you dramatically increase the surface area exposed to those GI fluids.
So it's kind of like how finely ground coffee dissolves faster than those big chunky beans.
Exactly. More surface area equals faster dissolution. It's a simple but effective strategy.
Okay, that makes sense for drugs that, just need a little push to dissolve. But what about drugs that are just inherently poorly soluble? Like no matter how much you grind them down, they just don't want to mix with the fluids. What then?
Well, For those tough cases, we need some more sophisticated approaches. And the Evaluation of Drug Candidates document actually outlines several strategies. For example, one method is using co-solvents. Essentially, you're adding other liquids to the formulation that can help the drug dissolve better.
Like giving it a little helper, a little buddy.
Exactly. And another strategy is complexation, where the drug molecule is combined with another molecule to form a complex that's more soluble.
Okay, interesting. So you're basically trying to create a more welcoming environment for the drug to dissolve in, even if it's not naturally inclined to do so.
Precisely. And it's not just about dissolving it, it's also about keeping it dissolved. Sometimes a drug might dissolve happily in the acidic environment of the stomach, but then, whoops, it hits the more alkaline environment of the small intestine and decides to precipitate out.
Precipitate out, meaning what exactly?
Well, it means it comes out of solution and forms solid particles again. Not good for absorption.
Definitely not ideal. So how do they prevent that from happening?
They can add surfactants or polymers to the mix. These act like little bodyguards, preventing the drug from precipitating out and keeping it nicely dissolved so it can be absorbed.
Pretty clever. Now, you also mentioned animal studies earlier, something about pharmacokinetic studies. What exactly are those, and how do they help in all of this?
Ah, yes. Animal PK studies. They're like detective work for drug absorption. By comparing how a drug is absorbed when it's given as a suspension with different particle sizes, or even comparing a suspension to a solution where it's already dissolved, scientists can figure out if the problem is solubility or dissolution.
So, like, if the solution is absorbed much better, then you know the drug itself just doesn't like to dissolve.
Exactly. And if reducing particle size helps a lot, then it's more of a dissolution rate issue. It helps pinpoint the problem.
Clever. Okay, so we've talked about the active ingredient, the drug itself. But what about all the other stuff that's in those pills and capsules?
The excipients. Don't underestimate them. They're the unsung heroes of the formulation world.
Unsung heroes. Do tell. What makes them so important?
Well, for starters, they're crucial in the manufacturing process. Think of things like binding agents that hold the tablet together, or lubricants that prevent sticking during production. Without them, the whole process could fall apart, literally.
So they're like the stage crew, making sure everything runs smoothly behind the scenes.
Exactly. But they do much more than that. They also protect the drug. Stabilizers, for example, prevent degradation over time. And as the oral drug delivery for modified release formulations article mentions, some excipients can even control the rate and location of drug release in the body.
Now that's fascinating. Controlling the release. Does that mean not all drugs are meant to be released immediately when you swallow them?
You got it.
That's
That's where modified release formulations come in. They're designed to release the drug gradually over time, or even target specific areas of the GI tract.
So like those extended release pills you hear about. You take one and it lasts all day.
Precisely. It's all about optimizing the delivery of the drug. Both the oral drug delivery article and the one on bioequivalence studies dive deeper into this.
I bet there are some serious advantages to that kind of approach, right?
Oh, absolutely. For
Hmm.
one, it means less frequent dosing, which is great for patient compliance. Let's be honest, remembering to take pills multiple times a day can be a pain.
For sure. I'm guilty of forgetting sometimes.
It happens to the best of us. But with modified release, you might only need one pill a day, which is much easier to manage. Plus, it helps maintain more consistent drug levels in the blood, avoiding those peaks and troughs that can happen with immediate release.
And I'm guessing that's a good thing, right? More consistent drug levels?
It can be. It often leads to better efficacy and fewer side effects.
Okay, so we've covered the basics of getting the drug ready and controlling its release, but let's get real here. What are some of the challenges, the real-world hurdles that scientists face in making all this happen consistently?
Oh, there are plenty. Like we talked about earlier, stability is a constant battle. Things like moisture, temperature changes, even light can degrade drugs over time.
So like that warning on your medication bottle to store in a cool, dry place, they're not kidding around.
Not at all. That's why packaging is so important. It's the first line of defense against those environmental factors.
Makes sense. Now, what about bioavailability in the real world? Are there challenges there even after you've optimized everything in the lab?
Absolutely. You see, the human body is a complex system, way more intricate than a test tube. As the pharmaceutical emulsions source points out, things like the speed at which your gut moves things along, gastric motility, the changing pH levels from your stomach to your intestines, those digestive enzymes, and even what you've eaten can all affect how well a drug is absorbed.
Wow, so many variables to consider. And what about, well, I know this might be a bit off topic, but what about when you're taking multiple medications at once? Can they interfere with each other?
That's a fantastic question and a really important one. The drug interactions article really delves into that. Yes, interactions between different drugs are a major concern, especially for oral medications. They can compete for absorption sites, affect each other's metabolism, all sorts of things. It's something doctors and pharmacists carefully consider when prescribing medications.
Right, makes sense. So it's not just about how one drug behaves on its own, but also how it interacts with everything else going on in your system.
Exactly. It's like a delicate ecosystem in there. And to help navigate this complexity, we have tools like the Biopharmaceutics Drug Classification System, or BCS. As mentioned in oral drug delivery, it categorizes drugs based on their solubility and permeability, helping to predict how they'll be absorbed.
Sounds super helpful. And what about those transporters you mentioned earlier? What role do they play?
Yes, the transporters. They're like gatekeepers in the intestine. Some help drugs get absorbed, while others can actually pump them back out, making absorption more difficult. The drug interactions article talks about their role too.
Fascinating. It's like there's a whole microscopic battle going on to determine whether that drug gets into your system or not.
It's a dynamic process for sure. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the actual manufacturing process. Does that have a big impact on how well a pill or capsule works?
Oh, absolutely. Every step, from granulation to compression to filling capsules, can influence the final product's dissolution and stability. While our sources don't go super deep into the specifics for oral solids, it's definitely a
Oh,
factor.
well.
And there's a growing trend towards continuous manufacturing in the pharmaceutical industry, as the OPR&D 2021A article points out.
Continuous manufacturing, what's that all about?
It's a more integrated and streamlined approach aimed at making the process more consistent and controlled, which in turn should lead to higher quality products.
Okay, I see. So it's all about minimizing variability and making sure every batch is top-notch. Makes sense. But with so many variables at play, how do companies make sure they're producing high-quality medications consistently? Well, that's where quality by design comes in, often shortened to QBD. It's a more proactive, science-based approach to development and manufacturing. And we've got a couple of great resources that delve into this. The Comprehensive Quality by Design and the Introduction to QBD.
QBD, so it's like building quality into the process from the ground up rather than just testing for it at the end.
Exactly. It's about understanding and controlling the critical quality attributes, the CQAs, those key properties that make a drug safe and effective. And to do that, you need to identify the critical process parameters, the CPPs, and the critical material attributes, the CMAs.
So basically mapping out all the things that could potentially affect quality and then figuring out how to manage those risks.
Precisely. And this knowledge comes from all those development studies they do, from early formulation work to pilot-scale manufacturing. It helps them establish the design space, which is basically a set of conditions that guarantee quality, as explained in the Certified Pharmaceutical GMP Professional Handbook.
Makes sense. It's a more systematic approach to ensuring every pill or capsule that reaches the patient is the best it can be. Now, we've mentioned the OPR&D journal a few times. You said there are some really insightful real-world examples in there. What can you tell us about those?
Oh, yeah. The OPR&D articles offer a glimpse into how all of this theory translates into practice. For instance, there's a great case study in the drug development article about prosinostat, an HDAC inhibitor. This drug was designed from the get-go with good ADME properties in mind, things like absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. They wanted to ensure it would have high oral bioavailability.
So they were already thinking about how it would behave in the body way back in the early stages of development.
Exactly. They knew solubility and permeability were crucial for oral delivery. And because of those properties, prosinostat was classified as a BCS Class 1 compound, meaning it's likely to be well absorbed.
Interesting. So their predictions actually held up in real-world testing.
They did. Preclinical studies in animals confirmed its good bioavailability, and they even used a computer simulation, the SimCip ADME simulator, to predict how it would behave in humans, which turned out to be pretty accurate. Plus, they did a lot of work to investigate potential drug interactions, which is super important for safety.
That's a fantastic example of how understanding a drug's properties early on can really shape its development as an oral medication. What about those other OPR&D articles we have? Do they offer similar insights?
While they're not directly about formulation, they do highlight important related aspects. Take the spiroxandole synthesis case study from ACS Symposium Series 1240. It's mainly about developing a reliable way to synthesize the drug substance itself, but it shows how even seemingly small things, like impurities, can have a big impact on stability and quality, especially for oral dosage forms.
Makes sense. Impurities could affect how the drug dissolves or how it interacts with other ingredients.
Exactly. And then there's the Negishi coupling method for synthesizing biaryl pyridones, detailed in OPR&D 2021C. This is more about process chemistry, but it shows how innovation in that area can directly support the development of oral medications. Having an efficient and reliable way to produce the drug substance is essential for ensuring a consistent supply of the final medicine.
It's all connected, isn't it? From the molecule itself to the way it's made to the final pill or capsule, every step matters.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Each stage plays a crucial role in ensuring patients get a safe, effective, and stable medication.
So to kind of bring it all home, our deep dive today has really uncovered the fascinating world of oral dosage formulation strategies. It's a delicate balance, making sure the drug can be absorbed by the body bioavailability while also staying potent and intact stability.
A delicate dance indeed. And formulation scientists are the choreographers, navigating a complex landscape of drug properties, excipient interactions, and those ever-changing conditions inside the human body. They're constantly innovating, finding new ways to overcome challenges and deliver those tiny packages of medicine that we often take for granted.
And that's really the takeaway here, isn't it? Next time you swallow a pill, take a moment to appreciate the incredible science and ingenuity that went into its creation. It's like a miniature marvel of engineering, designed to deliver a precise dose of a specific molecule right to where it needs to be at the right time.
It truly is. It makes you wonder, what other everyday things that we take for granted rely on such intricate scientific understanding?
Great question. Lots to ponder there. Well, we've only just scratched the surface today. If you're itching to learn more about specific formulation techniques, the role of excipients, or even the regulatory hurdles involved in bringing a new drug to market, we encourage you to check out the resources we mentioned and explore the vast world of pharmaceutical science.
It's a fascinating field.
Totally. And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What aspects of oral dosage formulation piqued your interest today? What questions are swirling around in your head? Share your thoughts with us, and maybe we'll tackle them in a future deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
Thanks for listening.